Hey, storytelling Ryan. So I want to talk about this one last time, I hope. But it keeps coming up. So the Last Supper at the Olympics and how they mocked Jesus Christ. And then, of course, now this dude, or, whoever, they're trying to say, it's just a pagan ritual thing, pagan depiction with this, ridiculousness. But either or, whether you're mocking the Last Supper, which she says here, the main person there in the middle says the New Gay Testament. Oh yes, the New Gay Testament. They called it the Last Supper, the play on of the Last Supper in the French titling of the word. Right there, La Sienne sur la Sienne la Soudaine, whatever translation. Last Supper on the stage on the river Seine. So they openly mocked it, and then now they're this woman here in the middle, Barabuch, whatever, she's suing now because everyone is offending her or whatever. She's being offended by us. So she's suing. She's declaring sort of a legalistic or a legal attack upon us for mocking back or criticizing openly or insulting her. Just as the pagans the gays are purposely insulting our faith. Which they can do, and we can. And our choice in it is to mock back, I guess, but more importantly, to criticize and then to boycott. That's our thing. Are we suing her? No, because suing. Let me explain that. Here, J.K. Rowling, Elon Musk named in cyberbullying lawsuit filed by Algerian boxer Iman Khalif after Olympic win. So these individuals, along with many of us, are claiming this is a man and beating up women, and then they're saying that they're offended, that they're hurt, and so they're suing. Everything is a legal lawsuit to destroy you for your opinion, your free speech, your mind speech, your thoughts, your opinions on things. Logan Paul, who attacked Khalif, then deleted it and said, "Oh, maybe I was wrong." So misinformation. That's what they're using now. The governments of UK, the US, Democrats, they want to use that as a way to shut us down. The lawsuit is filed and the facts remain, he said. So they're using lawsuits. As you can see, the left is a culture, and the pagans are a culture of lawsuits. What is a lawsuit? Lawsuit is tyranny. They want to destroy you with government, courts, anything to just ruin you. I remember that with Sarah Palin. Now under Trump, they're just constantly suing him left and right for any offense they think that they can get to destroy him. They do that with you and me too. They'll do that if any kind of lawsuit that they can throw at you, they will, because it's costly. It's demoralizing. It takes the energy out of you. Knowing you have a court date in like 6 months that you have to like defend or go to, and you know that if you lose, you're going to lose a lot. Like police, if you don't comply with the court if you don't comply with it, the government will bring guns on you, right? A lawsuit means you have to comply with us. You have to come on these dates. You have to be there. You have to fumble and mumble and blah 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 in front of a judge, in a court setting to defend whatever it is that you're being accused of. The left loves that, loves it. If they can go after you with something, they will. Even as you state your opinion, your belief, wrong or right, free speech is about stating your opinion on something. Address grievances, right? The free speech is about you being able to address grievances against the government and against each other. Peacefully, and addressing grievances. And grievances doesn't mean it's fact or truth. It means you're frustrated at something. You have a grievance. That does not mean that then you and I can destroy each other using guns, the police, the tyranny of courts. The court system is a tyranny that you have to comply with. I understand courts are also for a system of fairness. I get that. But people don't use it like that. They use it to destroy you because of your opinion on something. A court should be about breaking the law, breaking rules, but misinformation is not they're creating now laws and rules about misinformation and hatred, but that's all about who decides it. That is about freedom of speech. You and I have the freedom to be misinformed, to misinform, because the reason we allow that much breadth and width of freedom of speech is because we don't want you or me or someone else determining what is misinformation, what's hatred. It is about the will of the people deciding what they want to listen to and not listen to, not about the government and the left and legalists and lawsuit people deciding that. So you and I have the right with freedom of speech to misinform and being misinformed. We do, because who decides what is misinformation? And that we know government. You can't trust government on that. Government has an agenda, just like everyone else has an agenda, and government has the power of many guns, and that is not cool. To have them control what is misinformation, what is information, what is truth, what isn't truth. That is absolutely evil and tyrannical, and you all must understand and not allow that to happen. But we live in a culture now where, this guy, in my opinion, based on what I'm seeing and based on the chromosome test, the only chromosome test that were actually ever taken by an organization saying this is a male XY chromosome, because the Olympics did not do it, based on the latest information I have heard, and whenever. But they're suing Elon Musk, they're suing J.K. Rowling, anyone they can find, and they're saying we're going to scour the social media for your thoughts and opinions on things, and put lawsuits on you. And that's what the UK is now doing against the protests, under the Tommy Robinson, where they're the anti-migrant flooding of migrants into Europe that's causing so many problems. They're attacking them now based on their opinions on that. So let me go to, if you want to live in that kind of culture, continue on this path of no more churches, getting rid of churches, don't go to church. Why? Because Christianity is the only freedom you and I have against this onslaught of tyranny. Let me open this up a little more. So what do I mean by this? Look at this. In Christianity, we have a belief, lawsuits among believers. Now, obviously it's Christians are Christians, but hear me out. If any of you have any, this is 1 Corinthians 6. If any of you has a grievance against another, and by the way, all these letters in the New Testament are about how Christians evangelize and build churches, and then how they're dealing with each other. And that's really all they are. They're instructions on building churches and evangelism across, the Middle East. And that's what the letters are. There's obviously the gospel, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then Acts, and Acts is kind of like the story right after the Jesus Christ's resurrection, and then the birth of the church. And then Romans on, like pretty much all those letters they wrote, furiously, secretly hiding, in the Roman Empire, sending letters to all the different church establishments and helping them get their churches established and learn about the gospel, and learn about Jesus Christ, and learn about Christianity. And so this is now discussing this. If any of you has a grievance against another, how dare he go to the law before the unrighteous instead of before the saints? Do you know that the saints will judge the world? And if you are a judge to the world, are you not competent to judge trivial cases? Do you not know that we will judge angels? How much more the things of this life? So if you need to settle everyday matters, do you appoint as judge those of no standing in the church? I say this to your shame. Is there really no one among you wise enough to arbitrate between his brothers instead? One brother goes to law against another, and this is in front of unbelievers. The very fact that you have lawsuits among you means that you are thoroughly defeated already. Why not rather be wronged? Why not rather be cheated? Instead, you yourselves cheat and do wrong, even against your own brothers. So this is giving them a spirit of let's not just continually sue each other. That carries over to the rest of the culture. Now, you're going to say, how dare the church take over law, But this is saying you all need to just chill and not sue each other, because suing is a gun to the head of both. You have to comply with the court, otherwise, you would be killed. And I'm trying to get that across to you all when you talk about the Old Testament saying it's so cruel because of all these, thou shalt be put to death. A parking ticket, and going to court, if you do not comply with those, you will be killed. Every regulation in government has a force of police behind it. If you resist a parking ticket, you will be killed. So for you guys to say the Old Testament is cruel is BS. Total BS. If you resist a parking ticket, if you don't pay it, they tell you to go to court. What if you don't go to court? Then they find you on the street. The police officers realizes, hey, your driver's license has been suspended. What happens if you resist that? What happens if you resist the police officer? I mean, really, if you resist him completely, he's got to chase after you. What happens if you go run to your home and he doesn't, okay, he's a liberal. He doesn't do anything, but still they're going to have to surround your house, right? It's going to keep going if you fully resist. At some point you have to comply. Same with lawsuits. Even if you're, and they're doing lawsuits because you offended them. This person here, she is suing. She is suing because she was offended. So she's now scouring social media. They're claiming, the lawyers are, and they're going to come after you. So they're spreading fear purposely. Why? Because their heart is of tyranny. Their heart is of tyranny. They will openly mock and scoff Christianity and push paganism in the Olympics, which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to do religion or politics in the Olympics. They will push the pagan religion. It's hilarious that they claim that, this is just a pagan thing. Well, that there is illegal too in the Olympics. So what are you talking about? Both are. Mocking a religion and support and promoting a religion is completely, you are cut out of the Olympics if you do. And they're doing it in the ceremonies, the opening and the demonic closing one. But because we're offended and we say we're offended, they're threatening lawsuits on us. That's the culture. And you think you're going to be free from that? No, you if you're a pagan or an agnostic or an atheist, you too will be sued left and right. You already know you will be. I mean, if that's the culture you want. This is saying stop suing each other. Deal with it in an arbitration sense amongst people the culture the church, and the reason the church does not have guns behind it. The church works it out with you guys. That's what the whole point of this is. Matthew 5, let's go to this. And this is another part about Christianity is, blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice. Now, obviously this is Jesus Christ and his sermon and stuff, but this is giving us something. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets before you. So on my YouTube channel, I'm constantly insulted by others, by their comments and stuff. And that's a wonderful thing. That's called heaven points. When you guys attack me and say, my stuff is BS, which, I mean, I'm a doofus, but when you guys come after me and stuff, the pagans and stuff, I get a lot. I get more downvotes on a lot of my videos than ups, especially the ones when I bring up D&D. See, that's just called heaven points. Okay. So when these people insult me on YouTube and stuff, I don't want to. I have no desire to sue or do a lawsuit or spread fear amongst them. They can keep doing it. That's fine. It's fine that people post on my thing how angry they are or how they don't like my videos. That's fine. As long as they're not repetitive. I have one individual who just constantly repetitive stuff, and I'm like, okay, blocked. I block people that are annoying. If you want to state something unique and original each time, that's okay. But if you're just gonna some guy just kept copying and pasting, and then kept bugging me all over the place, and I just block. Okay, but it's fine. I don't want a lawsuit. It's like I don't want to sue people. I don't want to sue people for anything. And sadly, I did it once in my life years ago, and I definitely will think 72 times before I do it again, because it didn't really cost me much. I didn't really lose much. I lost the case, but it was a minor case. But it was so costly to the other person. I felt bad how I could tell this was so costly to the other person, and I still think they were wrong. But about what happened. But anyway, I still felt kind of bad though, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole process. I didn't like how I had to wait till that date. I didn't like standing there that day. I felt sorry for that person, because that person was losing money just having to go there, and I was, just another day for me. So I don't want to do that ever again. I don't want to put somebody through that if I can help it. And even if they're my worst enemy, I would not put that on them. I would not want a case like that. It's just terrible. So my warning to you is that if you want a pagan culture with no churches, you're going to have these type of people constantly suing you and me just for your opinion. And the government is doing the exact same thing. In the UK, look at that. They're going after people for their opinions. Same here in the US. Our opinions on, the whole vax thing and the whole lockdowns and freedom of speech and criticizing the government. We were being hunted through our thoughts, through our opinions, and being sent to court and being investigated. And that is not a world of freedom that you and I can flourish in. So I'm warning you that we have to have a church culture, so that we don't just go after people in that way and lock them up merely for their grievances against the government or grievances against popular places where they do things. The Last Supper is constantly mocked by gays in their gay communities and all and stuff like that. But the Olympics is a public thing run kind of by an international organization meant for all governments and all people, and that's why that was kind of a thing. So we Christians don't go after every person that mocks and scoffs Jesus Christ, especially in their gay pride parades and all that. Why? Because they have a right to do that in their places. But when it's a meant to be a public thing for everybody, we get upset when they throw it in our faces when we're just trying to watch sports. But again, we don't go around suing people and destroying their lives through courts. That's not our way. We pray really hard for them. That's what we do. We pray really hard. That's our jihad, praying really hard for you. That's the kind of culture you want to live in. And I'm telling you, you do not want to live in a pagan culture or an Islamic culture where they come after you and destroy you purposely with the cancel culture. That is all about destroying you. So the solution is get back to church, or support church, or support candidates who are churchy people. I know we church people can get a little crazy, but we have a balance of Christians, that kind of fight each other and say, hey, we do want to change the culture, we do want to affect it, but we don't want to be jihadis about it, So sure, there is that constant argument amongst Christians of getting too crazy with government control through forcing our Christianity on people. I understand that, but it's way better, and you have way more of a chance and to resist that than you do the other. And the resistance against Christianity, the best resistance against Christianity is peaceful resistance. Peaceful resistance where you never get hurt. You might get arrested, but then you will have people on your side, even Christians, supporting your freedom if you're not a Christian. But Islamic, no. Pagan, really? You think you're going to have a peaceful resistance and then someone's going to help you out and fight for justice for you? Because pagan always ends up Marxist, communist. Because it's a series of lawsuits and regulations and centralized government and taking away your guns and control. Whereas Christianity is all of us just fighting each other and keeping an even kill. You guys, why are there so many different Christian denominations? The New Testament, there's so many different types of churches in there, and they're kind of arguing and correcting each other. So it's kind of, well, I don't know. It's already there in the Bible. I like that there's all these different sort of denominations kind of doing this, because Christianity kind of allows that and kind of, separation of powers type of thing. We want separation of powers. We don't want centralized power. Centralized power is the worst, and that's what paganism always aims towards, and Islam obviously aims towards that as well. All right? Church culture. If you want freedom, or the chance of freedom, the modicum of freedom, you want church culture. I mean, look at I got to do this. I know I'm already kind of long here, but I want to do this. I was going to do it in another video, but I'll just do it here. Dawkins here is hilarious. He's like, oh my, he got his account deleted because he was criticizing the Caliph thing, that XY thing here. He's like, I want a Christian society. He, in the 90s and 2000s, he was huge atheist who was getting people off of Christianity. He did all these tours, across America and all this stuff, and he's still kind of whacked, but Dawkins, and but now he's like, I want Christian culture, Christian civilization. He's a cultural Christian. He misses that. He sees England changing towards Islamic, and he's like, this is not good. But he's the one that instigated all this stuff, and that's and thanks takes Peter Heck here for putting this together. But if you guys want to check it out on the Not the Bee takes, but he's the one. Now the atheists from the 90s and 2000s are now complaining because they've succeeded at destroying the church culture. And I'm going to the 10 Commandments. I'm making this video long. All right, let's going to make it short. The 10 Commandments. I love that the first one, you shall have no other gods before me. I love that. I love this because what he's saying there is, you do not have to worship me, but guess what? I challenge you to see if you don't worship anything else. You shall have no other gods before me, and you should not make yourself an idol in the form of anything in the heavens above, on the earth below, or in the waters. An idol. So you should not have idols. For I, the Lord, am God. I, the Lord, your God, am a jealous God. So he's already saying who he is. He's a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the father. Okay, on that, but showing loving devotion to those houses, love and keep my commandments. Okay, so he's basically saying, it's interesting to hear that the wordage is that you don't have to worship me, but you try to not worship anything else. That's the challenge, and you all worship something, or we all do. You shall not take the name of the Lord in vain, your God in vain, for the Lord will not leave you unpunished who takes his name in vain. So this one is interesting. I love this one because it's saying don't blaspheme the Lord or God, but it's also about the culture around us. Like, I don't care to blaspheme Islam, even though Islam is, I'm going to criticize Islam. I'm going to speak out against it, but I don't care to look for insults. I don't care to I don't care to use, all right, I'm going to say some bad words right now, but these are not words I use in my real life. I don't use these words. The word faggot, I don't use that word. I don't even think of it when I'm thinking of gay people. I think of LGBT, I think of the wrong, and the other one, I'm going to say the word nigger. I don't use that word. That is not part of my thing. I do not like to insult people like that. It is not, it's not part of my psyche at all. I don't use words like that to insult people or go after people. It's terrible. And I do use funny words. I try to look for funny words, but I don't look for dark words that are, based off of really bad history or whatever. So those types of words I don't like to use. And what else is honky is silly. To me, gook, which is Korean, and I'm gook, so it's kind of that one cracks me up. Jap, I don't think Jap is a bad word because it was based off of a war, so it wasn't based off of slavery and destroying people, taking away the rights and stuff. Anyway, so kike is the Jewish one, but I don't have a connection with that one, and I don't use it. I don't use that word, so I don't know. I don't know what the history of that one is. I love Israel and Jewish people. Anyway, Romans 11 on that one. Okay, so let's go to this. Remember the Sabbath day, keeping it holy. So this one is wonderful. I love this one, and it has to do with creation science too, because 6 days he made everything. Okay, anyway, remember the Sabbath. So this one I love because it actually insults dictators. It insults tyranny because it says you have to give, as a society, give everyone a day of rest. And slavery, you never get a day of rest, right? When a tyrant or dictator rules you, they don't like that you have a one day out of the week to worship God, worship your God, and have a day of rest. That one insults them, and is an amazing little commandment. But you and I notice that I can work Monday through Saturday. I work Monday through Friday on all of my projects and stuff, and Saturday I actually do like yard work, or I gotta go practice the fighting medieval armor combat. But I like to do yard work or things like that. And then on Sunday I really need a day. I really need one day off. Honor your father and mother. Okay, you shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness. You shall not covet. Where am I getting at with all this? The society you want to live in. If you don't have a society based off of this consideration, this care amongst each other, you're going to have a pagan society or an Islamic society that constantly sues, constantly threatens, constantly takes you to court, constantly uses the threat of guns and government and tyranny over you. Whereas this one, you and I walking around the street have these in our hearts. If you have these in your heart when you're walking around in the streets, you're not going to want to covet and take someone else's house and property and wife and children. You're not going to want to steal from them. You're not going to want to bear false witness and try to destroy people's lives through slander, and taking them to court and lying about stuff, just to destroy them or take away their jobs. You should not murder. Murder is the killing of innocent. You're not going to want to go walking around killing the unborn and killing people or destroying their lives or having that. You should not commit adultery and honor your father and mother. You're gonna walk around wanting to not lust, not have a pornographic society where you're just crazily addicted to porn, and also honor mother and father. You're gonna want to care for children. You want to care for other people's children. You're gonna want to care for a good father and a good mother society. You're gonna want to have laws that help people when they have children, that protect them, that help the mothers at home and the fathers going to work, or if it has to go vice versa, whatever. Also a society where one of them is at home taking care of the children. Also a society where you don't have the government controlling and taking over your children. This is the kind of society you're going to have with a church culture. The church is not going to covet your home. You atheists and agnostics and secularists and pagans. They're not going to covet your home. They're not going to take control of you and your wife and your manservant, maidservant, ox, donkey, anything that belongs to you. Anything that belongs to you, your neighbor. You're not going to have a society like that. I don't know, what was my train of thought? The church is not going to take things from you. The church is based on charity too. And anyway, so we're losing the church culture. And so when people are wondering why Islam is it's coming into the world, it's, why is the government allowing Islam in like, especially UK and the US and across the Europe? It's because Europe is the last Christendom. Europe and America is the last Christendom. The pagans, the Marxists, the evil, they're targeting that. They're not targeting China. They're not targeting Vietnam. They're not targeting the Middle East. They're not targeting Brazil. There's a couple there that are they're quite a bit Marxist and socialist. But anyway, they're targeting the strong Christian areas of Europe and America to have them fall. Why? Because they hate Jesus Christ. So that's what we need to bring back into the world. If you want a culture that I just explained to you, one where all those rules, that way of life, not suing each other, is in our hearts all the time. Where we disagree, but you can live your life. I'm gonna live my life. The worst thing I could do to you is pray for you and not be part of your church. You not be part of my church. It's kind of like the worst thing. All right, I got a lot of work to do. I just wanted to talk about those issues there about having a church culture, just to get it off my silly little videos. In the game of life, roll holy dice.